Hi, it's Toy Soldiers here, and I'm going to do a nice little video here about difficulty curves and what people mean when they're talking about difficulty curves and how to adjust your difficulty curves based on how many 2 checks or how many 4 checks you put into your deck because you're like, oh, I keep hitting 2s and it makes me lose games. No, stop saying that. Just stop it right now. Okay, there's no reason you should be saying that crap. You can easily adjust your playing to kind of accommodate for the amount of checks of certain things that you put into your deck. Okay, if you're playing safety 3s and safety 5s, which is all 3 checks and all 5 checks, when you're playing your game and you're playing your first few turns or you're playing build turns and you just don't want to commit yourself out too much, this is pretty layman's. You can always build on the 3, the 3, the 3, the 5, and the 5. This is a pretty safe turn because that means on all these guys, you've got a 100% chance of succeeding. And on these 2 guys, you got a 66% chance of succeeding. I'm assuming 1 over 2 attacks. Or 1 attack for every 2 foundations, sorry. It's a little bit late here. Okay, and all that means, if you're, not that savvy with UFS yet, is that every time that you play a card, this card's on a 3 difficulty, and then this card is on 2+1, which is another 3 difficulty, and then you're playing another card on 1, 2, 3 difficulty, and then this one's coming in on a 5 difficulty, and then this one's coming in on a 5, and if you get really bold, you can push out, try to do another one on a 5 difficulty, right? This is the safety 3s, safety 5s build. Now, depending on what you get in your hand, there's also you can play like this on a 3, then this on a 5, and then the other risky one. Do I even have another 3 in here? Then you can play this on a 5, and then you can go back and do the 3, 2, 1 later. 2, 1. All this does is bump this one up to a 5 and make this a little bit riskier. But same thing. This is a safety 3s, safety 5s difficulty curve for a play for your card pool, right? Making sense so far? Yeah, you're following me? Okay. Same thing can kind of be done with attacks. Right? When you're playing a poke turn, the 5, then you're going 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, this all makes sense. This is pretty UFS basics right here, right? So now this is a poke turn where I have a 66% chance at any given moment. So if I fail, sorry, I'm gonna try to make this make some sense to you guys. So this puts everything at 5, right? You're following me here? Everyone's following along at home? Great, fantastic. Okay, this means that I've got 66% chance of hitting these, right? Or 1 out of 3 chance of failing. Yeah? So that means for every 3 cards that I'm going to play, I can assume I'm going to have to commit 2 foundations at least. At least. Makes sense? That means if you're going to play running 6 5s, you can assume you're committing at least 4 foundations to do this. Does that make sense to you guys? You kind of following along here? That's based on I have nothing but 5s and I have 1 attack for every 2. Okay? We're just using really easy math for you guys. If you're interested in knowing where your numbers are exactly for your deck, depending on, obviously, because you're not going to run these perfectly easy math numbers, UFS Ultra does keep track of all of your stats, what you're going to check, how many cards you have to commit per check. It's really good to look at their stats section if you're not using it already, because it helps you figure all this stuff out for your specific deck. But before we get into that, well, actually, we're not getting into that because we're doing a curves video here. All right. Yeah. Okay. What I'm trying to get at to you guys. Stop complaining about 2s, stop complaining about 4s, because all you need to do is adjust those numbers. The thing that people do all the time is they put 2s in their deck and they just play like they're not there. They just ignore them and hope for the best, right? If you're playing 1 checks, you kind of have to, because those things are just wild cards. And if you're running 8 1 checks, you can't really adjust your play style around that. But with 2s and with 4s, you can. You can kind of pull down the difficulty curve of your foundations, or at least you can add some of them, add some zeros in there to help you curve out. Or you can also, if you've seen my turn 1 playability video, you can take your 3 difficulty foundations and put them into your not playable turn 1 pile, and then just adjust your foundation attack ratios accordingly. But if you're going to try to play on, the 2s and the 2s and 4s, it's easy. You just start doing this instead of doing 3s and 5s, or you do 2, 2, 4, 4, 4. or depending on your ratios of 4s, obviously you're not running only 4s. You can do 2, 2, 4, 4, 5. But you're trying to put the higher risk ones always at the end, and you're trying to put the lowest risk ones always at the front. I know this is like, of course it's common sense, but it's not common sense because people aren't doing it. People still complain about 2s. It just means that you play out your curves accordingly, right? Something like that. That's a 4 build turn. Or if you can't get that out, you go the 2, 2, 4, 4, right? 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, something like that, right? There you go. Right, you kind of following along here. You kind of picking up what I'm throwing down. 2, 2, 5, 4. Yeah. You see, you don't do this. You know why you don't do this? Because you're going to guarantee you have to commit something. 2, 2, 5, 4. Right? You kind of following along here? Kind of starting to make sense? Great. Okay. Adjust your attacks accordingly. Same thing. If you're going to do a poke turn, you're not going to want to do like this. That's dumb. Don't do that. You don't need to. This, right? And if you know that you're running lots of 4s, all you're going to need to do is adjust, plan. Like don't play a deck that uses 5 difficulty pokes if you're running on lots of 4 checks and you're concerned about committing things during poke turns. Just don't do it, right? If you don't want to be vulnerable on turn 2 and you're playing a 5 and you've got lots of 2s and 4s in your deck, that's high risk. You don't need to do that. Try to put pokes in your deck that are running on 4 difficulty so that you can at least, risk assessment, your output is a little bit lower, but the risk to push that out is a lot lower as well, right? It's just kind of adjusting yourself. Adjusting how you're playing, adjusting how your deck, like what your deck wants to do and what your deck's capable of putting out per turn based on, your control. It's literally, that's why it's called your control check, right? It checks how well your deck can control or how well you can control things. I don't know. It's really late here. It's like 1 in the morning. Just bear with me. But until next time, that was difficulty curves, more or less. Yeah, I'll talk to you later.